From the 10-carat engagement rings to the million-dollar weddings, everything in Hollywood is big, including the divorces. The division of assets alone can cause major problems. But when it comes to the biggest settlements granted to superstar wives, these figures are simply unparalleled in the universe.
I never accepted anything. You know, I could have asked for so much money and I didn't.
You never know what the truth is, because most of them are quiet settlements that go away.
But it doesn't stop us from speculating about who got what. After all, the numbers must come from somewhere.
I'll never be more famous than he is. I'll never make as much money as he does.
And if you think celebrity settlements only involve mansions, Bentleys, and yachts, think again.
In the case of celebrities, you have, the relatively easy assets, the homes, the cars, the bank accounts, the financial assets. Their business is playing music or their business is appearing in films. That creates a whole series of other assets.
Today, divorce is very expensive. The courts value future income you're going to have for movies or records and so forth. So it's a nightmare.
We interview these people, their agents and their lawyers and their business managers, and sometimes the studio or the book publisher or the modeling agency to try to get an assessment about how long this run is going to occur.
Once these questions are answered, it comes down to the most important one of all. How much of that money can the ex-wife get?
The rule is you're supposed to continue the way of life. So if the way of life was plastic surgery every 6 months, the courts don't say that's part of it. But if the way of life was a mansion, then they do.
They detail things like vacations and salon trips and psychiatric trips and hair and makeup and laser waxing and, all these sort of different things that people detail about their lives.
There's child support, there's maintenance, and there's a split up, whether it's equitable distribution of community property. That's our business.
But enough with the boring spreadsheets. Let's get to the good stuff, the final figures. At one time, Jim Carrey was the highest paid movie star in Hollywood. Good for him. But even better for his ex, Lauren Holly. It was widely reported that she was able to exit the marriage almost $10 million richer.
Jim Carrey was the first man in Hollywood to get $10 million movie. And he was married happily at the time to Lauren Holly, but then their marriage fell apart, so you can only imagine what she got if he was making that much money.
I'm just being supportive.
And speaking of supportive, after their divorce, Jerry Hall came away with a settlement of nearly $25 million from Mick Jagger, according to sources. Now, that's satisfaction.
We both love doing things really quick and getting on with it.
Mick Jagger tried to get out of his marriage to Jerry Hall by claiming they weren't married by an actual priest. It was some kind of voodoo shaman leader.
Mick and I are incredibly friendly.
But sometimes a settlement can involve more than money. When Angelina Jolie split from Billy Bob Thornton, she reportedly had one of the most bizarre property demands.
Of course, when they broke up, they had a small problem, and Angelina Jolie wanted her blood back. So she asked Billy Bob for it.
Whether this is true or not, my advice, forget the blood and go after the more traditional assets, as was the case when Mark Antony said sayonara to wife Dayanara.
Mark Anthony's wife received 2 homes, one in Florida, one in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
While these settlements are big, others, you might say, are titanic. When director James Cameron jumped ship from his marriage, it was widely reported that he left his wife, Linda Hamilton, with quite a hefty bounty.
The best example that I can think of is the James Cameron's involvement with Titanic. It went on to be a big box office hit, and I think Linda Hamilton benefited from that.
They got married for just a short time. He made Titanic, got like $100 million, and when they got divorced, she got half of that.
He's the king!
Thanks, baby.
I'd be saying that too if I were getting those kind of royalties. But that's nothing compared to Amy Irving's payday when she and director Steven Spielberg split.
Amy Irving didn't have your average divorce settlement when she got divorced from Steven Spielberg. She got $110 million from him. So I guess maybe that helped the pain a little bit.
Well, time is money, as they say, and a woman has to be compensated for the years she spent as a devoted wife. When Michael Douglas split from his wife Deandra after 18 years of marriage, Michael reportedly shelled out $60 million.
Of course he paid her a large sum of money. He was together with her for a large sum of years. They have one kind of cute thing. They both co-own a house on the coast of Spain, and each of them gets it for 6 months. But each of them moves out every single piece of artifact in there, every couch, every photograph, every painting, the day before the next one moves in. They will not share the same items, just the house.
Is everybody's marriage like this? I don't know.
Not necessarily, Michael. But remember, this show is not about marriage. Up next, what every disgruntled bride needs to know about surviving divorce. And, of course, saving face at the same time. Welcome back to Jackie Collins Presents Divorced Women. We're here at the Ritz-Carlton Huntington Hotel and Spa. Now, imagine for a moment your marriage isn't, rocking your world anymore. In fact, you've tried, you've cried, you've compromised, you've gone to couples counseling or seen a good shrink, and nothing has worked. Well, guess what? I consulted with some of Hollywood's leading authorities on divorce, and here's what they suggest you do in order to protect your sweet little assets. Just because you're a fabulous star attending all the A-list parties doesn't necessarily mean you get a VIP pass to marital bliss. In fact, in Hollywood, it can be just the opposite.
Even in Hollywood, no one goes into a marriage wanting to divorce. But if you're going to do it, you have to make sure that you do it right.
When a marriage goes bad, they'll strike out and hurt, and there's hatred and venom.
And it all starts with an ironclad prenup.
You have to know whose money was what before you came in. It's just like getting a contract at Paramount. You have to argue every point before this big romantic honeymoon night.
I think if you get married without a prenup, particularly if you're a celebrity, you ought to see a psychiatrist and not a lawyer.
Tip 2, to be seen about town with a younger, hotter guy. Ashton certainly didn't hurt Demi's reputation.
Demi, Ashton!
Brigitte Nielsen also has the right idea.
Brigitte Nielsen, she's engaged again to a much younger man, which is always sexy. If you're an older woman who can snag a young guy, you're doing something right.
Mathieu is my love. He's my life. He's my air.
Tip 3, make sure you get the best divorce press release possible. How? Hire a good publicist for a month to get you favorable mentions in all the columns announcing your newfound freedom.
Celebrities before, they would say to their publicist, don't write about it, don't talk about it, no comment. Now it's a whole different story. They want their statement out there first. They don't want to read about it first in the tabloids.
Tip 4, and if Mr. Wrong really pisses you off, talk about him to all who listen. Or better yet, write about the grisly details in a journal, which who knows, could turn into a best-selling book or $1 million screenplay.
Celebrities are definitely learning how to use the media to their advantage.
Tatum, right to the middle!
Like actress Tatum O'Neal did when she split from tennis star John McEnroe.
It's been mostly positive, but it's been kind of intense.
And finally, number 5, retreat from the limelight for a few months. Work on your inner and outer beauty. Treat yourself to a mega makeover. And when you're good and ready, make a stunning comeback.
Well, with Sharon Stone, all of a sudden she decides to completely do a 360, start wearing the low-cut dresses again, look hotter than she ever did, go out on the town.
Oh my gosh. You have to wait a while before I get ready for dating again.
You could see the attention that was paid to her, the attention that paparazzi gave her on the red carpet.
And why shouldn't they?